Hey everyone, Amy of Dragonspit Apothecary. Thanks for joining me at this week's Oil Oracle card reading. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, welcome. I hope you guys hit subscribe and join me every week because we do this every Friday and every full moon. And then periodically I do offer some free readings that you can ask your own questions. We can talk about the cards that come up for you. Now, all of my readings come with alignment to natural essential oils. I only recommend those that I personally use, and they're under the brand of doTERRA. I think they've got a beautiful product. I've had a lot of great results with them. If you have questions about that, you can reach out to me on the website, dragonspitapothecary.com. There you'll also find my blog, lots of training and resources to help you, as well as you can get a hold of me and ask questions. I'm always happy to talk about natural living. So, got 3 cards this week. And if you caught last week's, you know what deck I'm using, so you know why I just said that. I have picked up a few Oracle cards a couple months ago, and I've been working to align them to natural oils. But this one particular deck, pretty intense, but very beautiful readings. So I used them again this week. They're from the Divine Feminine Oracle deck, and gosh almighty, just beautiful cards. And in this particular deck, it took me a long time to align the cards to the natural oils, but because I didn't want to undervalue any of these chicks because they're pretty strong women. So I hope you enjoy this reading. If you have questions, you can leave a comment here, or again, go out to dragonspitapothecary.com. I'm happy to help you. So the first card I'm going to pull is, gosh, I hope I can say this name right, Anna Adamaya Ma. Okay, very beautiful card. So she is the joy permeated mother. And, you know, it's, I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. Okay, so we're going to talk about who she was, a little bit about what this card means, and then I'll give you some oil recommendations to support going with it. So she is the card that represents essence of expansive joy that comes when we are our true self. So this wasn't her her original name. Her original name was Nirmala Sundari, which means beautiful one. And she was born in the 19th century in Bangladesh, what is now known as Bangladesh. And so she was constantly happy. Okay, and so much so her family thought she had some mental instability, because apparently being too happy is a bad thing. I don't know if I agree with that, but her family thought she was nuts. At 13, she was married to a man she would later name Balaneth, and I hope I say his name right. And he supported her life as a mystic and saint. So he got her, right? He understood. At 26, Nirmala enacted her own spiritual initiation. The ceremony and rites were spontaneously revealed to her from within. She explained, as a master, I revealed the mantra. As the disciple, I accepted it and started to recite it. In the 1920s, she set up the Kali Temple and devoted her life to spiritual practices. She became recognized as the living embodiment of the Divine Feminine and is incarnation of Kali as divine love. Okay. Her first disciple named her this Anandamani Ma, which means joy permeated mother, because her blissful states, again, being too happy all the time, inspired others. She made them feel good. She made them happy. I still don't see a problem with that. And her teachings began to attract scholars, philosophers, artists, and contemporary mystics. And she refused to be called a guru. She refused it. She just wanted to be happy. And share that with others, and insisting that we were all ultimately created as oneself. She loved all living creatures, including herself. Okay? So she gave kind of the red thread to women for this reason, right? And you see that around her neck and around her head. The sacred right of bestowing spiritual authority previously only given to men. Okay, she took that power and she used it. So, someone interviewed her, and this is getting to the message, but I want to share this passage with you. And asked her, well, why are you always so happy? Why are you always so filled with joy? And her response to him was, because she's aware of her true self. She knows that before she came to earth, she was the same. And as she grew, she was still the same. From a little girl to a woman, she was still the same person. And she remains the same even after her death. She remains through the dance of creation changes around me, but I am still the same. Okay, so this is a self-realization card. And it's asking us to become conscious of who we are and realizing we got to be true to that. And our only true calling and purpose any of us has is to become ourselves and to realize who we are. And she believed that any action we take is towards that goal. So there's a calm joy in knowing who you are and merging that with where you are today. And the bliss we get when we experience every time we detach from our surroundings and allow the chaos in our life to fade away, and we are who we are. Okay, I think that's pretty guru-like. So the oils I aligned with this one. First of all, is grapefruit. So grapefruit's about letting go of those expectations around us and getting down to what's important and right for us. Okay, so grapefruit, pretty good oil for that. Siberian fir. I think all the tree oils would work for this, but Siberian fir particularly because it's the deep roots and the tall tree, right? And it's the extension of being the same regardless of how that tree grows. It's still a very strong, beautiful tree. And it grounds us in the belief that we can reach for anything is possible for us. But we have to believe in who our own true self is and be bold enough to grow in that direction. And then I also put petitgrain with this one because petitgrain is very supportive of growing in who we are and acknowledging our self-awareness, right? And being comfortable with who we are, being comfortable in our own skin. I think that's really important for all of us, right? So this weekend, spend a little time asking yourself, who am I? What am I about? And finding that blissful joyfulness. I love that, right? Why is it wrong to be happy? And you know what? Even today, a lot of us are guilty of that. A lot of us find that we love to be around happy people. We love when we feel happy, but it's almost like we're a little bit ashamed of being happy, right? Because there's so many miserable people around us, so many unhappy people. But when we don't accept that miserable unhappiness in our own being, we stop caring about it, right? And we start enjoying who we are and living up a little freer, right? So I think that's a beautiful card to work on this weekend. Okay, this next one's what we need next week. And I think this is a cool card we're getting ready to get. I think you guys are going to like this. Saraswati. Oh, again, I hope I'm saying that right. This is the goddess of self-knowledge, okay? And it's the essence of who I am flows effortlessly into everything I create. So if you think about what we just talked about with knowing who you are, this card makes a whole bunch of sense, doesn't it? Next week, we're just going to keep on carrying through. We're going to be happy about it because we know who we are, and we're acknowledging that. And then let me tell you what this little Saraswati means. So she represents self-knowledge of who we are so that nothing impedes the flow of creativity from our soul. So take who you are and then let your soul shine is what I'm reading from that. And she is a Hindu goddess, okay? And she is part of the Trinity in the Hindu goddess, maintains create, maintain, and regenerate the universe is kind of what they stand for in that Trinity, and she is the create arm of that. So she was mentioned in early Hindu Rigveda, the collection of ancient sacred texts that date back 1500 BCE. And she is sometimes referred to as the mother of the Vedas. It is understood to be the personification of knowledge. Students sometimes appeal to her for help on exams. She's kind of helping with that knowledge part. She's also there for music, art, things that flow through us in knowledge, and healing and personification of purity through knowledge. Okay. And she's aligned with like the white lotus, symbolizing purity of wisdom in that her energy brings. Now, what this card means is that what needs to be communicated through us, whether words, music, artwork, can flow when our creative thought processes feel blocked or, stagnant, not coming up with anything fresh. It's because we haven't opened up that soul of our self-knowledge and awareness to be able to create. Okay, we're not being true to ourselves. It goes back to our first card, right? So we're taking the time to return to who we are, nurturing that essence and realigning to the flow of our soul. That will open up creativity for us. And our art isn't meant to be judged, okay? And it's not for a popularity contest. It's for what is aligning internally to us. And that's what she's calling us to do, is become more aware of our self-knowledge, unique soulful work that we can do and create, and leading us back to that finely tuned place where we can allow that to be seen and move in grace about it, not feel embarrassed. So here's what I align to this one. Okay, because particularly around that embarrassment, because sometimes we're ashamed of who we are. And she's saying you don't have to be. You know who you are, and you move in that self-knowledge. Juniper berry, I think, is really key for this one. It's a cornerstone for this one, actually, because that is a very knowledge-based oil that supports the creative process and allows us to be who we are in that space. Okay. The other one I put with this was lime. Lime is a very creative oil. It's a very liberating oil because of that citrus background. So it allows us to free that noise that's around us and allow us to flow in our own music. Okay. The other one I put with this was cypress. Cypress, again, is a tree, but it's a very free-flowing tree, right? If you think about the shape of a cypress. So allowing that flow of creativity through our self-knowledge is what we need next week. I'm telling you, these cards are incredible. Okay, from the universe. And I think this is a more common known feminine hero, if you will. I've heard this name before. I didn't know a lot about her, but I sure do now. Yeshi. Yeshi. So she is the Lady of the Lotus Born. An embodiment is the deepest bliss, and my body was made for enlightenment. That's kind of what she's about. So let me tell you a little bit about her. She was born a princess in Tibet in 777 CE, and the legend has it she was born like Buddha, right? Where she just kind of a mantra came and her mother gave birth to Yeshi painlessly. And her name means Wisdom Lake Queen because of the moment of her birth, a nearby lake doubled in size. This is the legend, symbolizing her tremendous wisdom and her waters of enlightenment. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so she, from a very young age, only wanted to practice the Dharma instead of getting married. But the Emperor of Tibet gave her to a guy who traveled to Tibet from India to spread Buddha's teachings. He became the main consort and husband, and together they founded their own lineages of Buddhist teachings. She was isolated in meditation for several years and accomplished several cycles of trantic spiritual practices. She's very intuitive and wise because of these teachings. So that's why she's so well known. And her husband predicted that she would be reincarnate as the legendary Tibetan Buddhist tantric teacher later on in life, right? So, what this card means, it's very interesting. It means it's easy to forget everything we touch and everything we say and everything we do is not separate from the divine. We are not in this world by ourselves. We are not doing things that are not connected to a higher reason or purpose. And she embodied one of the most potent spiritual truths, that the female body is an asset to enlightenment. Okay? The body is a vehicle to free us from the idea that there are any limitations in reality. Tantra is what weaves together the sacred and the mundane to reveal spiritual nature of all things. That's what she focused on. And to realize that she was both an ordinary woman and a divine. Okay? So, and she's telling us that too, right? We're more than just human. We are connected to a higher purpose and calling through our soul. And that's what her teachings are about. Our body holds infinite wisdom, pleasure, and possibilities. So the moment you see your gorgeous body as a gift, regardless of size, shape, color, any of that, that's when you start to awaken this, what this card is talking about. And so it's about body acceptance, body awareness, not shaming ourselves and saying, oh, that doesn't apply to you, you fat, whatever, right? We are beautiful head to soul. Okay, that's what this is about. So what I align this to, and I focused a lot on the body awareness and acceptance. Cassia, which is very much about our self-knowledge and wisdom that we carry in ourselves and in our hearts. Rose, which is a lot of unconditional love for ourselves, others, everything. So I think that's very key to what Yashi and her teachings were about. And Magnolia. Magnolia is a beautiful oil to support these emotional self-body acceptance work that we need to go through, okay? And to understand and to recognize our own beauty within and without and who we are. So there you have it. That's our June readings. And I really love these Divine Feminine cards. I think they're really beautiful. So leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you got something from it. Tell me what it meant to you. Certainly, if you have questions about the recommendations that align to these cards, let's talk. I'm happy to answer questions about those. And if you don't know how to get them, I'm happy to help you with that too. I just really want this to be intentional for you to get the best support you can out of it. And we can work together on how that happens. Okay, until next time, talk to you soon.